Hi and welcome to Wise Words with Wise Women here at the Strictly Come Speaking events. And today I'm joined by an amazing, incredible woman. I met this woman about maybe 6 months ago. And you know when you just see somebody and you're like, this person just means business, and she knows her business. And then once she started speaking, I was like, oh yes, we need to invite her to our stage because people need to know about her. So you might be thinking, who is this? So I'm going to hand over. Please introduce yourself.
So my name is Susanna Reay and I'm an online business mentor, and I like to say I'm the chief spark at the Spark Space because I love sparking ideas in people.
Love it, love it, love it. And of course we'll be sharing a bit more about the Sparks ideas. So I remember seeing you on stage quite recently, and if I remember rightly, you started out with 6,000. And I was like, oh my gosh, I heard that you travelled a lot, and I wondered if these were the amount of countries that you'd been to. But tell the viewers what 6,000's about.
Not quite the number of countries I've been to, but 6,000 is the number of thoughts that we have in a day. And that's a lot of thoughts. So some of these are just thoughts that, like moving your hands around, that are linked to. But some of these thoughts will be ideas that we can use and implement in our business. Brilliant. So hence the start of the talk.
Nice, I loved it. And before you had your own business, what was your background? What was it when you realised that you could be creative and have these ideas? But where did that all start?
Oh, gosh. Realistically, I've been having ideas ever since I was a child. I've been creative right from the get-go. But I did actually, my first degree was in art and design. And then I went on and did an MBA at business school because I realised I'm at this intersection between business and design. And it was when I was talking to just like friends in the bar, and they might be running a business, and they would go, oh, Susanna, what do you think about this? And I'd naturally be like solving their issues for them just over a drink. Yeah. And it was then when they turned around to me and went, Susanna, you should totally do this as a business. And I guess that is how it started out in terms of being on the consultancy coaching side, because linked, as you inferred, that I have lived across 3 continents, 5 countries, 20 cities in my lifetime. And so I've grown up with the internet and working online. And therefore it became a natural extension to help people promote their business online, because that was how I was connecting with all my network, basically.
Amazing. And I know that you started to create an alternative way because when you were going to like network meetings or when you were with other people, there was this kind of very gregarious in your face method, and you give yourself a label of introvert. Yes. Now, I've got to say, introvert for me, until I met you and had this kind of explanation, I used to think was the wallflower in the corner facing the wall. So do you want to share with other people who might not be in the know like I am now?
Yeah, not at all. Being introvert basically means it's how you harness your energies. So if you like to gather your energies more on your own, then you are more introverted in nature. Whereas if you're an extrovert, you love being around other people and you gain energies from being around other people. So you can be a sociable introvert, or you could be a shy introvert like the wallflower. But there's 8 different styles of introvert in the same way there's 8 different styles of extrovert. So yeah, totally. The traditional marketing, networking is very extrovert friendly, should I say, because it's about going out, meeting lots of people, talking about yourself. And I just found that exhausting. I would go into a venue and it might only be an hour and I couldn't work for the rest of the day because I was so drained. Whereas if I have a one-to-one conversation with someone, that would energize me because it would be sparking ideas and thoughts, and you'd be generating, like having a deeper conversation. And so, yeah, it's about how you energize yourself. And yeah, I totally had to rewrite that extrovert bias marketing rule book and find a way that suited myself.
Yeah. So you wrote your own book, is that correct?
I did, yes.
You have it here?
I have it here, and it's The Introvert Way, which I've trademarked The Introvert Way, in fact. And it's the roadmap that I discovered and followed over the time that I was basically working and trying to fathom it out for myself. And I was working with more and more introverted entrepreneurs because this was pre-pandemic. So it was before the rest of the world had come online. Us introverts were already, as I called it, on the dark side and happily playing in that space. And so I'd had 20 years experience of what works, what doesn't work. And I realized, thanks to my clients really, I was running a mastermind. And it got to a point where they were going, yes, but how do you do it, Susanna? Because I'm so exhausted too. And I realised I hadn't actually been sharing the framework that I'd built my whole business upon. And that's kind of how the book came about. Yes. And so I always say it was years in the making in my head, but it only took 6 weeks to write because it had been years in the making. So I think sometimes you just know when a book is ready to be birthed, and you don't want to push and try and write something just for the sake of writing a book. You've got to wait until you've got a genuine message to share.
I love it. I love a couple of things here. One is that use your introvert superpowers. So obviously that's coming from an introvert with superpowers. We love this. And I love your analogy there, because it is like, you know, if you're pregnant, not that I've ever been pregnant, but if you have, if you've ever been pregnant, you don't start pushing after month 3. You know, you wait until it's ready. So I love that analogy. A great book. And I know just in terms of colours and designs, what I really love about a book and the framework information that you have is that you can take really complex ideas and make them very simple for people to understand, even though they've got depth and layers underneath, which is amazing.
Yeah, because the joy is when you simplify something down to a core concept and make it understandable, it then becomes repeatable and, most importantly, shareable. Because a lot of us as well, if you're a coach or a consultant, you're in the business of transformation, and therefore you want to share how your ideas on how you're helping people transform, because you're helping others get better, basically. And so you want to share your methods. So the simpler we can make that and the easier for everyone to understand, the better, really. It's just a win-win all round.
Yeah, great. And so you mentioned coaches and consultants. Who else have you worked with? I know you've had quite a breadth, but just sort of maybe 3 or 4 just to share.
Yeah, energy workers, designers, driving instructors, accountants, everything, both left and right brain. Because the joy about frameworks is it works for everyone. And it doesn't really matter where you come from, whether it's in the holistic wellbeing space, where I do work with quite a lot of people because they struggle the most in terms of sharing their value. Whereas even though I've had huge impact with accountants as well, but they more have a title that people kind of presume they know what an accountant does. But there's also issues, even with accountants, people not really understanding what their speciality might be. And so, yeah, whether it's left or right brain, it can work for everyone. It's just about making it simple, understandable, shareable, and particularly in this day and age where we've got such short attention spans that you've got to capture people really fast.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of your frameworks are very colourful. They've got shapes, they've got like an easy flow to them. So when you first look at it, it might only have 3 or 4 words on it, but again, it goes back to the depth that your clients have around their subject, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're designed for people. It's not just to be shown flat, they're designed to be interactive. So you present different elements at different times. You talk about, if we base something on a simple Venn diagram, we talk about what's happening at the intersections. And then there's all the elements as the expert that you know come together to make that impact. Because what we don't want to do when we're first talking to clients is to like overwhelm them and confuse them with the how. We want to focus on the impact and the end result.
Yeah, nice. And I know you've had a lot of success with your clients. Can you, just share maybe one example of where somebody was and then what happened with them after they'd worked with you?
Yeah, I had one client and she's a voice energy healer, so a very specific area. And she was really struggling with even selling a basic sort of $49 offer. And then when we dug down and worked into and discovered her framework, which for her was very spiral, and she'd always had this feeling of it being a spiral because it's from inside and coming out, and in the spiritual sense that is sort of self-actualization. But she struggled to share this with her clients. So we created a framework, and after creating that framework she launched her online course and had a 20k sales from that first launch, and she was totally blown away with the difference that the framework had. And that was because it really helped her clients see the immense value she gave, and she'd stopped overwhelming with people by, she would talk for half an hour trying to explain what it was she did, and now she had a simple way to take people into her world, and they'd go, where do I sign up? And it was huge, the difference.
Yeah, brilliant. So if there's anybody out there who's got a similar frustration, maybe they can talk very freely about what they do, but people are like, oh yes, thank you very much for that, and then walking away. How can they get in touch with you so that they can benefit from this too?
So the best way is you do find me across all socials. My favourite is Instagram and LinkedIn, and that's at Susanna Reay, or my website, which is susannareay.com too.
Brilliant. And we'll pop the links underneath this video. I hope that you've enjoyed listening to Susanna and it's sparked an idea for you and to connect with her so that she can help you grow your business as well. Susanna, thank you so much. It sounds a little bit cliche, but thank you so much for lighting up the entrepreneurial space for extroverts and introverts.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Of course you will work with extroverts as well, because they do need frameworks too.
Extroverts can also struggle with talking too much, is all I'll say.
What was she talking about there? And on that note, we will say thank you so much. Remember to stand up and keep speaking out, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you, Susanna.
Thank you.
Thank you.